The heat in the Sahara was like a wall of fire, a shimmering haze that danced over the endless dunes. It was 1994, and Mauro Prosperi, a dedicated Italian police officer, was putting his body through the ultimate test in the world's most grueling race, the Marathon des Sables. He was signed up for a brutal 250-kilometer trek across the most unforgiving terrain on the planet. But on the fourth day, the desert showed its true, violent face. Without warning, a massive sandstorm swept in, turning the bright sky into a bruised, pitch-black void. The wind was so fierce and the sand so thick that Mauro couldn't even see his own fingers in front of his eyes. For 8 long hours, he huddled on the ground, buried under his gear, waiting for the world to stop screaming. When the storm finally died down, the landscape had completely changed. He was lost in a giant golden maze of dunes, and his compass was spinning uselessly in his hand. The silence of the desert was heavy and suffocating, like being trapped inside a grave. Mauro realized he was utterly alone against a vast, indifferent void. As the sun scorched the earth and his last drop of water vanished, a living hell truly began. His throat was so parched he couldn't even manage a whisper. It felt like someone had poured molten lead down his throat. To stay alive, he had to do the unthinkable. He started drinking his own urine. It was a desperate, nauseating lifeline, but it was all he had. Eventually, he stumbled upon a small, abandoned shrine, a tiny stone structure standing solitary in a world of fire. It was his only refuge from the sun's merciless, skin-blistering glare. Inside the dim, dusty shrine, he looked up and saw hundreds of bats clinging to the roof. Driven by raw hunger and a primal will to survive, he caught them, killed them, and drank their blood just to get some moisture into his system. He forced himself to eat their raw meat to keep his heart beating. He even hunted desert snakes, skinning them in the dark to find any ounce of energy. But as the days passed, the isolation began to crush his spirit. In a moment of total soul-shaking despair, he tried to end his life by cutting his wrists. But he was so severely dehydrated that his blood had turned thick and sluggish. It simply wouldn't flow out of his veins. He was trapped in the living world, seemingly destined to suffer. For 9 agonizing days, he endured the blistering heat of the day and the bone-chilling cold of the desert nights. He hadn't seen a human face or heard a voice in over a week. He had lost 25 kilograms, and his body was a hollow shell of the man who had started the race. But that tiny spark of hope deep inside him refused to go out. Finally, a group of nomads spotted him wandering near the horizon, barely more than a ghost. It turned out he had traveled 180 miles off course, crossing the border into Algeria. The Sahara had tried to swallow him whole, but Mauro Prosperi proved that the human spirit is more resilient than any wasteland. He walked out of the desert as a living legend. His journey is a powerful reminder that even when the world seems to close in and every door is locked, if you have the courage to take just one more step, you can find your way back to the light.